What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven here with your afternoon snap, and today we're going to be going over the developer update video for the Visions of the Future September 2025 Marvel Snap season. We're going to go over all of the new cards, and I'm going to rate them. We're going to do a tier list after we get my first impressions on all of the new cards coming to Marvel Snap this season. I'm doing a giveaway for PAX bundles. Stick around till the end of the video to find out how you can win. I don't know if this is like a Bill and Ted reference or if that's Wiccan. I think it's Wiccan. I've never seen Bill and Ted. Broad. First up, we've got Viv Vision, the premium season pass card. And just because that wording always confuses me, premium season pass is like the baseline, and then I think the next one's called super premium season pass. But this is the season pass card, Viv Vision. She is a 3/2, which says at the start of each turn, give all cards in your hand +1 power if you're winning here, otherwise move this to another location. Huh. Now that's interesting. Because last time I saw Viv Vision, I thought she was an end of turn card. Now she is a start of turn card, which is a buff, like just on the surface, because that's going to mean, I would think, that you get to draw your card for the turn and then pump up the card that you've just drawn. Notably, she's a 3-cost card, and even just +1 power, +1 can go a long way if it's on a Brood, a Seabass, a Captain Carter, or a Human Torch for steps. So I think Viv Vision is like already doing pretty reasonable stuff. I will say she was originally data mined last time I looked at her as a 3/3. And I will say, for the most part, I don't look at data mines, but because I've done some collaborative content the past few weeks, I have looked at both Viv Vision and Sparky, which are the Season Pass and Super Ultimate Premium Season Pass card. But I think that that's all that I have spoilers on. I probably have seen some other things just here and there, but yeah, so I had like a little bit of a baseline idea of what Viv might look like. And now she's a 3/2. And it's going to be harder to be winning the location with a 3/2, for sure. One thing that is interesting, if the game, because they typically don't do featured hot locations for the season pass card specifically, but if they did, just something like Sanctum Sanctorum could actually be really good for Viv Vision, because she moves there, she puts 2 power there, which like all you really need is just a little bit of power to win that location, and then your opponent can't contest it, and she'll be able to move there and start doing her thing fairly early on in the game. Now, as a 3/2 though, I think she is kind of a liability. Because if she's not doing her thing, if your opponent is spending their 3 energy to make a Negasonic, which is like a 3/6, or even just a Silver Surfer for steps, a 3/5, not to mention a Gladiator as a 3/8, you've really, this has less stats than a 2-cost card. All of the good 2-cost cards are 2/3s right now, and honestly, there's a few that are even bigger than that. So being a 3/2, 3, that's smaller than a lot of 1-cost cards that people are going to be playing. Yeah, most of them. Black Cat, Hydro Bob, and Blade are the first ones that come to mind. That is awkward. Her ability to move around is interesting. Now, she could move to a location that you're still losing. I don't believe that she's going to have any ability to like Captain Carter move, for instance. Oh, if she said at the end of your turn move, then she would also have a really powerful end of game Captain. Am I saying the right card? No, Captain Marvel? No, what's the... Captain Marvel is the one that moves at the end of the game. Miss Marvel is the pumper, right? So Captain Marvel, she would have an effect like that, but she doesn't. So don't worry about that. I am honestly not that excited about her right now, because not being an end of game card, being a start of each turn, or end of turn card rather, means that she's not going to have any synergy with Invisible Woman First Steps or Fantasticar, which were both ways that I was initially thinking would be good to take advantage of her. Alright, let's see what the video has to say about her. The fact that she is a 3-cost card that can pump up those other cool 3-cost cards is good. Don't think you want to be playing her in, like, RSM. Okay, yeah, that's interesting with Batroc, I suppose. The fact that she can move around with Batroc specifically is interesting, and it's at the start of the turn. So she will always move your Batroc. It will also potentially always move your opponent's Batroc, depending on how those Vivs are set up. So that is an interesting angle to it. And you're getting a little bit more juice if you're losing. But that's the other thing to keep in mind with Viv Vision. If you're losing, you don't get the +1 power. So, like, yeah, you might be able to play into some synergy by moving her, but you really don't want to be moving her. You really want to, like, get that +1 power from her and then follow that up on the next turn with 9 or more power worth of broods, for instance, to just continue to put a bunch of stuff at that location. And then, like, if you wind up losing that location in a big way, then Viv gets to move out, or you use an early Silver Surfer to continue to pump up that location and then finish off with, like, a Silver Surfer First Steps or something to re-trigger that. So this is Sparky, the super premium season pass card, and how they are doing it now is you can either buy the super premium season pass, at which point you get this variant, and whenever you get a variant now, you also unlock the base version. Or if you don't want to do that and spend $10, you can also unlock it as a Series 5 card for 6,000 tokens in the token shop, or I believe with snap packs for a little bit of a discount, right? Snap packs are 5,000 tokens, so you could potentially unlock Sparky that way. And this is, that's going to be like a whole discussion just around the economy of that. There's also some really interesting dynamics going on when a card releases into snap packs at the beginning of a season. It's actually the easiest to pick it up, because if worse cards come later on in the season, like to kind of fill up the pack, then you won't have to worry about that. So I am curious if that will kind of define how they start to do snap packs earlier, moving forward. We saw Invisible Woman First Steps was like kind of in an awkward spot because it was a build around that also came at the end of the season. But because it was like the best card and coming at the end of the season, it meant that if you didn't want those other cards before it, they were still all in your snap pack. So all of that is just some economy stuff. Let's just focus on what that dog do. And Sparky is a 2/1 with Activate. Give your card that last moved +3 power and move it back to its previous location. Okay, so first thing to note, it's an Activate. It's not a bounce, or it's not an on reveal, so it's going to be a lot harder to bounce and really take advantage of. Also, you give it +3 power and then you move it back to its previous location. So that ordering is important for something like, well, Human Torch specifically. Now, one point that Kingpin brought up, because I talked about both of these cards with Kingpin in an OTA kind of reaction video a few weeks ago when Human Torch was nerfed to a 3/3, but one really interesting point that Kingpin brought up is that having a bunch of things on the board that you can sort of delay the outcome for, with Zorn and Topaz and Hercules and Sparky, that allow you to just like get all your ducks in a row, or dogs in a row in this case, and then play something, not have to worry about tech cards like Shang-Chi. You might have to worry about some different tech cards, but be able to dodge Shang-Chi by just dumping a bunch of stuff on the final turn of the game and having kind of like a Rube Goldberg setup for all of your move cards to just move around and grant you a lot of power. That is an interesting angle that move decks are going to be looking to do now, kind of by design, and Sparky gives you another piece in the Rube Goldberg machine. I think that the on-reveal cards wind up being a lot more flexible, but the benefit of Sparky is that you can play it on turn 2, turn 3 you play your Zorn, turn 4 you play, oh gosh, I forget the name of the one card. It's not Morgan Le Fay. It's like a 4/7 that has an activate, and you move your cards here, one location that way. One location to the right. My camera's mirrored, so I'm trying to like visually show it. But you move all your cards one location to the right. I forget the name of that card, but you can start to stack up all of these effects. You can play Sparky plus Hercules on turn 5 and turn 2 Zorn or something, and just have all of these sort of things. And then on the final turn, drop your Dagger and your Human Torch and your Vulture for 6 energy, and just plan how they're all going to move around to give you the most value. That is a potential new way to look at move. +3 power is also a lot. That is worth noting. Almost everything that says +3 power winds up getting nerfed, because that is a lot of power. And I'm curious, now this is also, you do have to give +3 power to your last moved card. So this is definitely not an easy card to make use of here. It's almost like Dormammu in a way, where like you have to play something. I think this is even harder than Dormammu, to be honest, because you have to play Sparky, you have to activate it, and you have to have moved something else. So, well, I guess you could have moved Sparky, huh? Yeah, sure, but that's neither here nor there, because that's pretty complicated. But I guess you could potentially like move Sparky with a Madam Web or some other type of effect. Interestingly, okay, here's something. Give your card that last moved. Not this turn, just your card that last moved. That actually does give Sparky a little bit more flexibility, so that's fun. And I do like this kind of looks like a tie, so it's a little bit weird, but it's his collar. That's very cute. All right, I'm curious what cute things people will be able to do with Sparky. A lot of players that like move have said that this card is very good, so I'm going to defer to them and say that, it probably is.
In Marvel Snap, Sparky moves your last move card back to its previous location and
can move Viv.
Human Torch,
right?
Dagger, and Vulture.
Of course it can.
You're going to love playing fetch with this little dude.
All right, so it looks like Moira X is the first Series 5 card to start off the season, though I believe it will be releasing alongside Sparky. So the start of the season, we're going to have a bunch of Series 4 cards. We're going to have the rotation in stat packs, and then we are also going to have Moira and Sparky as new cards in the seasonal Series 5 packs, and Viv Vision as the Season Pass card, Sparky Premium Super Ultimate Season Pass. Moira is a 1/2 that says when this is destroyed, get a copy of your opening hand. Okay, I like this because this is something totally different. This is something, okay, copying your opening hand is really interesting just from sort of a design perspective. Right now, there is, as far as I know, only one location that does it, right? Sacred Timeline does it. And when Sacred Timeline shows up as like location number 3, it can oftentimes be pretty awkward because you're like, okay, what was my opening hand 2 turns ago? because I've played some cards like and were those cards that I drew because I wasn't expecting it. But at least when you put Moira in your deck, you will always know that Moira is coming, and then you will take a look at your opening hand and kind of react accordingly. There are going to be times where Moira pops up in like those Shanna Killmonger decks, and you wind up grabbing it randomly off of Shanna, and then it's a deck that wants to Killmonger the Moira, and those are going to be awkward moments. It's just a weird mechanic, and I'm curious if they will clue in, and we'll see this potentially in just a moment, if we will see any type of VFX that allow us to know what our opening hand is. But that aside, this is, so we have seen cards that like, I'm thinking like Phoenix Force, that melds together destroy and move in interesting ways. And what else have we seen? We have seen Victoria Hand merge together ongoing and hand. And Moira, I guess, there's a lot of other examples like this, but Moira is a really interesting blend for destroy and hand generation. You'll kind of want to, I mean, you'll need to run destroy cards to kill Moira, but are you going to want to run Killmonger in what is probably a Quinjet deck? Is it a Quinjet deck? Is it good to kill your Quinjet so that way you can make death cheaper? Because that's like the best thing that Moira can be copying, right? If it finds a death and you've destroyed that, just like being able to copy a cheaper card is typically one of the more powerful things that you can do with an effect like that. A reduced cost card is what I mean to say. So there's another interesting thing. Copy your opening hand. There have been times, so like, what if you Viv Vision? Viv Vision is going to be the season pass card. Do they want this to be synergistic with Viv Vision in that should the buffs that you say you have in your, let's just say Agatha's in your opening hand. She's gotten 2 buffs from Viv Vision, and then you destroy your Moira. Will you then get a 16 power Agatha, or will you get another 14 power Agatha? That's an interesting question, let alone, and I'm just using Agatha as an example because it starts in the opening hand there. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see if it has synergies with the season pass card. My gut reaction here, this is a fun card. This is like a silly card. Honestly, this could have potentially even been a Series 4 card. And this could be a little bit about what I was just talking about, is having this be the first Series 5 card of the season means that players that want to open snap packs are either going to wind up receiving Moira eventually, or they are going to like be disincentivized to open snap packs because of her. She's kind of just like a pack filler bloat sort of thing, but I do think she's a really cool card. I just don't think she's really going to have all of the pieces for her, but I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. This is a really tough card to evaluate and not one that I've seen before either. So
every time she dies and reincarnates, she's a most excellent robot now on her 11th life.
In Marvel Snap,
so they are
by granting a copy of your opening.
Moira in your opening hand can give you another Moira, which will just continue to give you Moiras. Okay. Well, obviously we have to think about that. That is pretty wild. That is not something that I had considered. Another thing that's kind of cool here is like cards that you actively want to destroy, like Uncle Ben and Nova, potentially play into like an interesting Morgan Le Fay deck. And Morgan Le Fay also returns cards to your hand and asks you to destroy a bunch of your cards. So I feel like there's maybe an overlap in synergy there. I don't know. I've seen a little bit of Morgan Le Fay play, and I even played a little bit of her with Airwalker, right? Yeah, that's wild.
Is it better to snap on turn 2 or turn 3?
Oh,
That's
certainly
funny.
One must wait until all locations have been revealed before confidently stepping.
Bastion is a 4/3 with on reveal. Add copies of your other cards here. I'm just trying to parse this with the weird font. Add copies of your other cards here to your hand. Set their cost to 2 and their power to 3. Oh, Cerebro 3 is back on the menu. Yes. Okay. First off, I don't know. I think it's very interesting that the first 4 letters of Bastion are Bast, which sets power to 3. I think that that's just like a weird coincidence. I don't think that flavorfully Bast is like a tiger sort of thing, and I don't know what this is, but giving you a bunch of 2/3s of the cards that you already have played at that location. I mean, yeah, the clearest one is Cerebro. Playing a turn 3 Cerebro into Bastion and then adding a 2/3 Cerebro to your hand seems really, really cool. It could also, you wouldn't want to use it on Bastion. Yeah, you'd need to really, you're really just using it on Cerebro in that deck. Now, there's other things you can use it on. You use this on Vicky Hand. Ooh, that's good. That's really good. Just grabbing another 2-cost Vicky Hand to your hand from a 4-cost on reveal card. Yes. Wow. Okay. This card has a lot of applications already. What other applications can we use it on other than just those 2 ongoing cards? So, how does this work on any 3-cost card? Probably reasonable, not all of them. The first thing that came to my mind was like Brood, which is going to give you a +1 power on your Brood, but -1 cost as well. That's something. I'm sure there's another 3-cost card that's good. You could grab a cheap copy of Mr. Fantastic First Steps and then play that on turn 5. That's not going to be super useful. Grabbing another copy of like Sam Wilson or Captain America could be interesting just because, I mean, they're cheap, right? Mercury, probably not. What are some other good 3s? Oh yeah, a Fenris Wolf. A Fenris Wolf at 2/3 would be pretty good, wouldn't it? Huh, wonder if that could be an interesting alternate angle for that deck. And then if you're grabbing like a 3-power card and setting it to a 2/3, that could become a polymorph target. If you'd ever play this like on turn 5 to copy your Wiccan, and then you can then just play the Wiccan on turn 6 as a 2/3 and polymorph it into a 5-cost card. Okay, I think we're drifting a little bit away from it here, but this card seems very good in 2 top-tier decks. I don't think we need to like try to come up with more things than that, but if we wanted to, I think that we probably could. So yeah, this seems like a winner. Let's see what they have
That location to your hand
for
with 2 cost
Bastion.
and 3 power. Imagine a 2/3 Ironheart.
Sure,
Patriot,
2/3 Ironheart's
Silver
quite
Surfer.
good. Okay,
Nothing is
so let's think about that. They also grabbed a second copy of Debris, which is annoying. I mean, this is also, it's not quite an absorbing man, but it's an absorbing man in the same way that like Moon Girl is an absorbing man, right? You could use it to copy a Dakin. You can use it to just grab a copy of, it's like a Frigga. It's like a Frigga that you can play after Invisible Woman and just grab a 2/3 copy of Invisible Woman First Steps. Oh goodness, and then you can still play that on turn 5 alongside whatever else you've copied, like... yeah, you grab like an Invisible Woman and a... oh wow. Okay. You go turn 3 Invisible Woman into an empty location. Turn 4, Bast, copy Invisible Woman. Turn 5, play your Invisible Woman, and then in that first Invisible Woman location, you could play a Prodigy with your 3 energy left over. Now, it might be a little bit tougher to fit this into that deck, but I'm also thinking just like copying a Thena or something could be totally fine with Bastion, because then on turn 5 you play the Invisible Woman and you play the Thena, and then you're activating those things, and then yeah, I think just another like really good way to copy this. Wow, certainly gonna want to play Gorgon again just to make some of these things more expensive, but okay, yeah, I know where I'm putting this card in the tier list, that's for sure.
More righteous than a guarantee.
And you can just play with anything. Oh yeah, and we're getting a new Human Torch again this season. Jim Hammond Human Torch, a 1/2. Those are pretty good numbers for Human Torch, I've heard. But this one does not double. It says at the start of each turn, again, we're doing start of turn effects this season, +1 power for each bonus energy you have. Oh, okay. So how do you make bonus energy? Hope Summers, Electro, Psylocke, Jennifer Kale, I believe is her name. Did I say Hope Summers yet? That's like the best one. Does Arishem work? Is this an Arishem card? I mean, it's not really an Arishem card because it's a 1-cost card, but it's if you play it on turn 1, you're gonna have bonus energy on turns 3, 4, 5, and 6, so it's a 1/6. That seems fine and good. What else? Oh, the last card, Bastion, is a 4-drop, so that could be an Arishem card as well. Just, I mean, it's not the best at winning an Iron Patriot battle, but it could give you a second Iron Patriot. I don't know about that one, to be totally honest, but it does work with Quinjet, so there's that. But on to Jim Hammond Human Torch. We also just got, forget the name of it, but it's called like the ancient one or the legendary one. The new 5-cost 5-power card that sets your energy to its power probably also works with this. Let's see what they are saying about it. I don't think that this is like fantastic. Oh, but it is +1 power for each bonus energy you have. So, yeah, you make like 3 extra energy with Hope Summers in a turn, then you're going to get all of that.
More excellent. He's a crime fighter who controls fire.
And it's cheap, too. It's cheap, so it could be played in like a Moon Girl, or we've also seen a little bit of like, I'm thinking like Marvel Boy style, what are they called? Hope Summers decks.
Rather than robots. In Marvel Snap, Jim Hammond gains power for bonus energy at the start of each turn.
Now, how did they have bonus energy here? Is this an Arishem deck? Or what's going on?
Marvel Snap, Jim Hammond gains power for...
Oh, is it from... No, they've got bolts in hand. Oh yeah, this is an Arishem deck. This is turn 3.
At the start of each turn.
Okay.
When paired with Arishem, Wiccan, or Agamotto, this Man-Torch would...
Yeah, Agamotto gives you +4 from the bolts. Wiccan's also going to give it +4. Those are interesting things to consider. You obviously don't want to play it alongside Quicksilver, actually, though maybe these were just generated by Arishem. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. This is a Dan Hip Domino here. Yeah, it's an interesting card. I don't think it's going to be that good, and it obviously is a little bit fragile being a 1-cost card. But it is neat. I mean, yeah, just Wiccan, like, you gotta think about all bonus energy is now just like bonus power. So Hope Summers can give this easily +4, +5. Wiccan gives this +4. Part of the problem is like, okay, in your bonus energy decks, how much do you want a 1-cost card? Hope Summers, probably. Electro, probably not. You just don't want to commit a slot to a 1-cost card. And what else was I going to say about that? yeah, from like deck composition aspects, it's a little bit interesting. Let's see what else they're talking about here. Oh, that's what I was going to say. When you are doing the bonus energy thing, Arishem aside, because he always does it, but like, you don't need something that's better in the games that you Wicken, right? Like, if you're Wickening and you're getting that +2 energy on the final 2 turns of the game, you done it. You done did it. And you don't really need to mess around with other things. So, yeah, that aspect of it, let alone the fact that you're going to play Quicksilver in your Wiccan decks.
Of Prometheus himself, bringing fire to the people, and if you play him right, victory to your board. You snap already?
I'm the fastest snap in the West, and I drew Warlock in my opening hand.
3/3, activate. For each unspent energy, give a card in your hand -1 cost. Okay. So this is like a She-Hulk / Sunspot card. Getting to double dip on your unspent energy is good. If you're not double dipping, then you're really not doing anything with this card, which is bad. I don't believe that it will interact in any way. Yeah, it says specifically unspent energy, so it's gonna count the same things that. Well, yeah, that's kind of awkward because Sunspot counts. Don't worry about it. I'm off on a tangent on something that rarely ever matters, but the main consideration with this will be alongside Sunspot and potentially high Evo cards, and I can't remember. Oh yes, the new boy. What's his name? Bruce Banner. Apologies. I believe that's the newest unspent energy card. I can't remember if anything else has come out since then. That was like 8 months ago. But yeah, for each unspent energy, give a card in your hand -1 cost. It's tough to evaluate a card like this because it already has a deck. There's really only one deck that this is going to go in, and it's a deck that I don't play. So it's tough to evaluate just from that perspective. I wonder if these triggers can land on your discounted She-Hulk and become irrelevant. If you can lose basically what Warlock is going for by just having the triggers randomly go onto your She-Hulk, and I don't believe that this is going to work like... So, Bullseye never hits the same thing twice. Warlock could be the same. Let's see, I don't imagine this is going to be a super impactful card. But I could be wrong.
Transfer energy. And Marvel Sap, Warlock randomly reduces the cost of cards.
So it looks like it hit Hulk a few times there, right? And Galactus twice. Let's take a look.
And Marvel Sap, Warlock randomly
yeah, it hit the Hulk
reduces the
twice.
cost of cards in your hand when you have unspent energy.
I like that it's got a new animation. I figured it had to because there was some, like, this card just looks so funky. And yeah, they gave it a funky animation to go along with it. So, interestingly, it has not hit She-Hulk in either of these two examples that we've been given. But I think it certainly could. It just didn't. So all of that is pretty interesting because it does activate before She-Hulk takes her discount. So if you're playing like Magic in order to give yourself a turn 6 that you fully skip, oh, yeah, no. Infinite, what does Infinite say? You can activate cards and still Infinite will work, right? Because if you activate something, you will not destroy your rocks in the collapsed mine. So there is, like, sometimes skipping a turn means something, but I believe Infinite says if you did not spend energy last turn or something like that. So I think that it should still work alongside Infinite. Though, I mean, yeah, you could just play Hulk or whatever instead. But, oh, it actually allows you to play an Infinite and a She-Hulk without magic, without limbo. There's other ways to do that too. All you needed was one discount on either She-Hulk or Infinite, but now you can have 5 discounts spread out across your hand, and then if one of those discounts hits the She-Hulk or the Infinite, you'll be able to play both of those, plus potentially some other things from your hand. Okay, that's a little bit more of an application in addition to just like the all-in high Evo decks. I like that.
She-Hulk and Sunspot have a new best amigo. So sorry for your loss. Nah.
Victory. My loss. I got Jocasta in my hand. Ultron's bride.
And I believe this is our final Series 5 card for the season. Jocasta, a 3/3 that says activate. Immediately activate your other cards here without using their activate abilities. Okay, well now I have to go and reprocess everything else that we've already seen. But this does a lot. I do think I was spoiled on this one, though I have not really fully unpacked what this could mean. This seems very good, so let me break down just a few of the things that I'm thinking. 1, use it, and then use Invisible Woman. I believe, and then it's like a second Invisible Woman, right? That's fairly straightforward. Same thing with Bullseye, though. As a Bullseye aficionado, I do not believe that this is a card that Bullseye decks are looking to play, to be honest. Sometimes you do appreciate having 2 Bullseyes, but oftentimes, I mean, it could work, but when you don't have Bullseye, it wouldn't do anything, so I don't think that that's something that you'd be willing to do. Maybe Invisible Woman decks would be the same, though those decks also play Fantasticar, and I'm sure they could find another thing, or even if they don't find another thing, that's probably just good enough, right? So here's my question. If you activate Jocasta and your other activate cards at that location have already used their ability, does it still work? I think so. I think as long as they have an activate ability printed on them, Jocasta will reactivate that ability or pre-activate that ability, and you can activate it again before or after that point. So, another thing that Jocasta can do other than just giving you another Invisible Woman First Steps activation, which I think is already pretty strong enough, but activate cards, if you draw them on turn 6, typically do nothing in a 6-turn game, but with Jocasta, you'll be able to top deck Invisible Woman First Steps on the final turn, slam her down, probably not also play a Prodigy, but actually maybe. It's probably hard-coded that Jocasta cannot trigger other Jocastas, but imagine you have Jocasta in a location, or maybe you have Jocasta plus another card. Oh, no, that would not work. Okay, that would not work unless you also like moved in a card, but I'm just thinking you, so 2 examples. Jocasta's there, you play Invisible Woman, then you play Prodigy, copying Jocasta, activate Jocasta. That should activate Invisible Woman, and then activate the Prodigy, which could activate the Jocasta again. That could give you like 4 Invisible Womans from an Invisible Woman that you played on the final turn. I'm not sure about that one, but even just being able to top deck Invisible Woman First Steps on the final turn, play her, and activate her is really something that could be powerful, I think. And the other thing that I was going to say is you could like have Jocasta in a location, play Invisible Woman First Steps, move in like your Sam Wilson Shield or something. I don't know, that deck doesn't really typically play move cards, but maybe you move in your Mercury or Sam Wilson Shield, whatever. Then you play Prodigy, copy the Invisible Woman, and then you can activate Jocasta, and you'll have 2 invisible women at that location that you can activate. She seems pretty good. What are other activate cards? Well, Fenris Wolf, obviously top of mind, but I don't think that Jocasta really is working with Fenris Wolf because takes the cards out of the pool. There is whatever move card I tried to remember earlier on. There is Sparky. Sparky, I knew there was another activate card that we've discussed in this video that was pretty good. Sparky, I mean, you could just play this with whatever thing we just saw with the wanted poster on it and the funky hair. I forget what that's. It had like a 1-word name that is like a real word. Warlock. Okay. You could play it with Warlock potentially, but with Sparky, yeah, just getting like another piece of that Rube Goldberg machine set up. And like I said, that's a deck that potentially wants to play that 4/7 activate move thing that I don't know the name of. And I'm sure someone has already said in the comments, but I do think that, yeah, like having any deck that's playing multiple activate cards could certainly make use of this. And move decks, again, this is, so it's obviously like the worst card to draw on turn 6, probably in the entire game, right? But it just made a bunch of other things that were previously the worst cards to draw on turn 6 slightly better. I don't know. I think this card seems really good, especially just because of like how multiple invisible women works. I think they'll need to change that.
I'm gonna team her up with Bullseye.
I'm gonna team her up with Bullseye. Oh, and Black Widow. Cool.
I'd rather die than lose.
Forgot about Black Widow. I'm surprised they're reminding us about Black Widow. They made Black Widow an activate so that people could not trigger it multiple times. And now they're just letting us do that again. Of course, like, that had to have happened eventually, right? But I don't think that that's something. Maybe. If you also had like another activator in a sort of Darkhawk rock deck, maybe, but I'm not entirely sold on that one. Well, I have access to this information. I'm sure this information is out there because it's data mineable and stuff like that. But let's go over these 4 cards that they are kind of just glossing over here. I've got their stats now in front of me. Awesome Andy is a 2/1. And oh wow, there's a lot of activate cards here. So Awesome Andy is a 2/1 that says activate, give one of your cards at each other location +2 power. So it's a 2/5. And you could potentially scale that, but a 2/5 is like already pretty good. And honestly, I mean, if you want to be a little bit more fair, you could just call it a 2/4 because you're not going to be able to make use of the power at all of the locations. But if you have Awesome Andy in like a setup location and then you're trying to use him to win the other 2, it could work out. A 2/4 is not bad. The main reason that Awesome Andy is good though is because you'd play him in a deck alongside Jocasta. So that way you just have another thing for Jocasta to take advantage of. And here's one more thing that Jocasta could potentially take advantage of. Omega Sentinel. Afflict the highest power enemy card here with -7 power. That's pretty big. It's also a 4/3, so we're looking at a 4/10, a unique way to build a 4/10 at that. 4-cost activators start to look a little bit sus, but I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad, and it could go in a Zabu Surge Affliction deck. It's just like fine stats. I don't know if you'd really even play it in those Zabu Affliction decks, to be honest. I think that there's better cards in those decks, but again, this is really just a Jocasta card. I think that that's really the only way to look at that. We also have Danger, which is a... I don't have that, actually. Oh, Danger is from Deadpool's Diner. At least, maybe it was at one point. No, I think it is from Deadpool's Diner. and it says destroy. Oh, okay. This is also an activate card. I did not realize, but Danger is a 4/6 that destroys an enemy card here with less power. Okay. Well, that is a potential RSM card because it costs 4, and it notably has more. I mean, 6 is a lot of power. It's more power than things with abilities on them. So, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Like, the only things that it doesn't destroy are, right, going to be like big things. You could pump this up to destroy a big thing. That's not really what you're looking to do with this, though. You are looking to use this as a tech card. And the window is short. This had to have a lot of power in order for it to work like this. So it has to cost 4. Like, it needs to have more power than Invisible Woman First Steps in order for it to be a relevant card. And once it has 6 power, it has to cost 4. So it's kind of like in an interesting design space. You could print another card, like you could just make a card called Caution and make it a 3/4 with the same ability, and it would be a unique, interesting design, right? Other than the fact that like you could pump that up with Silver Surfer or something. But yeah, this is really just meant to be like an answer card. So I'm trying to think about how it works as an answer card. I want to say it's good, but what I'm thinking is like you play it on turn 4, is whatever you are trying to answer going to have already gotten its value. And that potentially is a question about priority. And this is not in RSM decks, of course, but just in a normal game of Marvel Snap, if they play their Invisible Woman, and you kind of do want to play it in just a normal deck, so that way you know where their Invisible Woman is. You follow this up with a Danger, they copy it with a Bastion, and then turn 4 you activate, or turn 5 you activate Danger, but they already have activated their Invisible Woman, so you destroy it, but then they've already gotten a lot of their value out of it preemptively. And that's not even to mention that this is much easier to play around even than something like, it's maybe not easier to play around than Red Guardian. Red Guardian does have like some specific ways that you can play around it, but you can just play more cards to the location and then you're rolling a 50-50. So I'm not in love with it. Super Adaptoid has some interesting implications that I just thought of actually as well. But Super Adaptoid is, I'm also seeing here that it is from a limited time event, but Danger I have is like specifically from Deadpool's Diner, and Super Adaptoid is like maybe coming from a different limited time event towards the end of the season. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe Ben will fill us in on some of the information regarding that, but a lot of that stuff is kind of like finalized last minute sometimes, so it's not always in the video, and I don't even have it in front of me here. So Super Adaptoid is a 3/5, same stats as Invisible Woman First Steps, and says steal the text from an enemy activate card here. Now, interestingly, that could actually be a reason to play Awesome Andy, because then you make Super Adaptoid a 50-50. Where Super Adaptoid is really good, as opposed to Danger and Red Guardian and other things, it's gonna get it. People probably aren't going to play Awesome Andy just to stop Super Adaptoid. And that is good. You could wind up stealing their Jocasta. That's interesting. Now, here's the bad part about Super Adaptoid. If you are playing against an Invisible Woman First Steps decks and you are not playing an Invisible Woman First Steps, then the chances of you being able to like actually utilize her ability or a Bullseye ability or even a Kid Omega ability, I don't know about all that. So Super Adaptoid not great, but it is a very good tech card for what it's trying to do. If you are really bent up out of the Invisible Woman First Steps deck, and there's some splash damage here as we continue to get additional activate cards in the game. Now the, the She-Hulk decks have an activate card, so there's definitely targets in the format. I think it's going to be a specific tech deck that would need this, and priority and things are also going to come in at an interesting time, because yes. So you'd want priority on the final turn if you want to just play Super Adaptoid on the final turn and steal their activate cards. Otherwise, they've already activated and you can't steal anything. Okay, we're getting 2 new locations as well. Stark Industries, after turn 4, split 8 power among all cards here. Oh, interesting. I wonder if it will always be that all cards, like if both players fill it, then everything gets +1 power. If it's not, it could be really awkward. Like if this is a random location, I mean, it's going to have some randomness, but I wonder if it will prioritize giving everything 1 power first before double dipping on other cards. And I wouldn't imagine, like, if you have 3 cards at the location and your opponent has 1 card at the location, everything should just get +2 power, right? It shouldn't be they get 4 and you get 4. That also wouldn't seem fair. So it kind of, I mean, Stark Tower is a turn 5, everything gets +2 power there. I feel like this is going to be similar, but on turn 4, the randomness is really, I mean, I'm trying to just not say the word interesting, but yeah, it is. Add a random activate card here for each player from Kvich. From Kuch? I don't know how you would pronounce that. Or it might just be a bunch of numbers in in Roman numerals. I'm not sure. Sure. So many activate cards are so specific. So you're really just going to be hoping to grab a 4/7 off of this, or a 4/5. There's a few 4/5s now as well. Danger is probably like the biggest high roll that you can get, and the biggest low roll is like a Kid Omega or a Sparky that you don't have any synergy for. So pretty swingy location. Interesting. It actually feels more swingy somehow than the location where both players just get a random card. But it couldn't be, right? A smaller pool would have to make it less swingy, right? Because there's no way that, like, you get a Wasp and they get an Infinite. So it's less swingy than whatever that other location is. Is it Strange? No, it's not Strange Academy. It's X-Mansion. So this is showing Super Adaptoid as a Deadpool's Diner card. Sure. I wonder if both of them are just coming from Deadpool's Diner. One from the shop, one from the track, potentially. I did also see that some new locations specifically for Deadpool's Diner were data mined, and something else is going on here. After each snap, move a card away from here. Yeah, there's a lot of locations that care about snaps, and I'm going to listen to Ben because something else is going on new with this mode now.
We've improved how you raise the stakes, so your climb to the big table is smoother than chimichurri sauce. And win or lose, you're still stuffing progress into those taco specials and missions.
All right, this is already a pretty long recording session, but I did say I wanted to do a tier list, so let's do it. I had to do this all while not recording because the website was really lagging for me. I think because I have really high resolution images here, but I'm just going to run through it real quick. Bastion, I think, is the best card of the season. Let's call him Bastion here. I think that he slots really easily into 2 top tier decks, and anything else he can do on top of that just seems like upside. Joe Costa, really goes well into one deck in particular, but it's one really good deck, potentially still like the best deck that people are just forgetting about for a little bit, with Invisible Woman First Steps. So I think her inclusion into that is going to be really, really strong. Super Adaptoid, I think, is actually pretty flexibly playable, if I'm being honest, and could potentially even go into the Invisible Woman First Step decks for mirror matches, and can also find its home into Serra decks, Silver Surfer decks, and any other decks that think that Invisible Woman First Steps is too good. Viv Vision, I think, could potentially even be a little bit lower. She's good in Silver Surfer, like I said. Is she going to see that much play outside of that? I really don't think so. And then the question becomes, does Silver Surfer have room for Viv Vision? And I'm not sure. So, not sure about Viv Vision as a whole. Danger, I think, is a little bit too tricky to fit into most decks. 4 is a lot, but Zabu still exists, Surge still exists, and Danger is pretty good with Surge, allowing you to play it on turn 3 for 7 power, which gives you a little bit more flexibility with it as well. And then just like RSM decks, and it's just like never going to be a bad card. Is it going to be a good enough card ever? I'm not sure. Maybe it could get bumped down a tier, to be honest. Sparky, I've heard good things about from players that like move, but it can only go into that deck, right? It's really only going to get played in a move deck, and its applications are even smaller than some other move cards, thinking like, like a Ghost Spider or something, for instance, which can be used to move Red Wing. Sparky's not going to do that. It has to get played alongside other cards that move things even. So it's pretty restrictive. Does seem like a cool card from what I've heard, but that restriction's going to knock it down to B tier for me. At C tier, we're going to kick things off with Warlock, and these are ordered in their individual tiers, by the way. So I think that Warlock is the best of the C tier bunch because it does have a home. We can give it that already. It's not a deck that I ever gravitate towards. Will I now because of Warlock? Possibly. It gets a little bit more interesting. Sorry, I thought I heard something there, but I don't think that it's really going to move the needle, but time will tell. Awesome Andy is just like a basic card. It's not doing anything super exciting. Could it potentially make its way into some of the like Silver Surfer lists and things again, as sort of like, we've seen Herbie in some decks recently, and this basically has like one of Herbie's abilities, but it doesn't have like the best of Herbie's abilities, the best one being the +2 energy most of the time, I imagine. So I think that Awesome Andy's probably going to go by the wayside for the most part. But if there is a deck that just like wants to play Jocasta, then Awesome Andy's stock will rise just as a result of people wanting to get more value out of a card that I think is looking pretty good. And Awesome Andy could increase in value in the future for that reason, as Jocasta increases in value in the future as well. Jim Hammond, Human Torch, seems a little win more, and I think that is the best way to describe it. It's doing something cool when you are doing something cool, and when you are not, then it's a 1-2. So probably pass on that. Moira is down at D tier, just because I don't think that she has a deck immediately, but she's a very cool card. She's going to go with like Morgan Le Fay and Airwalker in just like these cards that are potentially in the future going to do something absolutely amazing. I think that for right now, I don't have those visions of the future, so Moira is going to have to just stick at D tier alongside Omega Sentinel, which I think is probably the worst card of the season. It's a 4/10. It's not bad, and could also be good again just with Jocasta. but I think that it's expensive and nobody's going to want to play it. The synergies that it has are with Activate and with Affliction. So could it see play in a Jocasta deck? Maybe. But I think that there's better, I don't know, like if somebody's playing like just a Jocasta deck, you activate Jocasta and Awesome Andy and Omega Sentinel on the final turn to give -14 to that location and +4 to the other 2 locations. It's interesting. But I don't think that's the best thing that Jocasta can do. It's certainly a thing that Jocasta can do, though. So Omega Sentinel probably could be above Moira at the very least. But I don't think the Affliction decks want it, even though they are playing Zabu. You can't play it on the final turn, so it's a little bit less flexible than every other card in the game. And yeah, I think that just keeps it a little bit out of contention for me. But for today, that is going to be it for me. That is my first look at Visions of the Future. Let me know what you think and what cards you are looking forward to. But for today, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace. To enter into my giveaway, there are 3 things that you need to do. The first is subscribe to this YouTube channel. The second is leave a comment on any of my videos. This season, every comment will give you an additional entry into the giveaway. Limit 1 per video, but you can comment on all of the videos that I upload throughout this season. And the third thing that you have to do is join my Discord. And the reason that I need you to do that is so that way I can contact you if you win, because YouTube comments, you don't always get the notifications for things like that. So join my Discord, leave a comment on all of my videos, and subscribe for more Sweet Marvel Snap.